Good morning, friends. It is good to be here today. Let's just spend a moment settling into our bodies and letting our bodies settle into this space. Whatever space you're in right now. Coming into the moment, being here now, as the old saying goes, these kind of phrases, they can become platitudes, right? And they can become kind of a bumper sticker rhetoric, or almost meaningless if we hear them enough, but we don't quite embody what's being said. In recovery programs, you'll often hear a lot of catchphrases. It's like, AA and NA recovery groups, they love their little sayings, their little catchphrases. And there's some really good ones. There really are. But one of the ones that people say often is, you got to feel your feelings. You got to feel your feelings. And that's especially told to people new in recovery by those who have maybe a bit more experience with it. And it's always, it always strikes me as an unspoken, obvious thing that we don't really know what that means sometimes. I don't know what that means. But we hear it and it sounds good and we get the gist of it sometimes. And so we kind of just start, these little phrases become viral. They become these things that sort of sink into our mind and we repeat. So be here now. That's one that I think, used to be a lot more common in New Age circles than it is right now. Maybe not. Or be in the moment, or leaning into something. That's another one that gets me every time when somebody says, lean into the discomfort, lean into the pain. That's a lovely cup of tea. Pardon me. I allowed myself to become distracted by my own tea. I think that's a Zen koan or something. But this notion of these little catchphrases that we have, these little sayings, they're like little bits of scripture, like little sutras, little things that we can lean on. We can come back to, and they're relevant as long as we are embodying the things that we're saying. Then we can understand what the meaning is behind the words. And I don't know if that's being clear. Sometimes I get a little heady, but let me give you an example, I guess. When we say we want to settle into this moment, well, what does that actually mean to settle into a moment? It's an abstract. But for me, it literally means to set down my body, to settle all of the things that are moving this way and that. My arms are doing 5 or 6 projects. I've got my hands full all the time. My feet are constantly moving. I'm pacing through my office space, from the printer to the back room to make my tea to the restroom to check the water, all of these different things that we're doing. And then at the same time, even if I'm sitting in a space and I'm sitting at my desk, my mind is going all of those places, right? I've got my phone, I've got my computer, I've got my office phone, I've got my daily planner with my schedule for the day, and I'm cross referencing this to that, and I'm looking at all these things. And I'm pulling out a set of divination cards just to keep my mind focused on something non-work related for a little bit. All of these places, all of these things, and we're moving. Even in times when we're sitting at our desk, we're moving a million miles a minute. We're all over the place. So to settle into the moment, it means to give pause. And it means to be aware of what you're experiencing in this space right now. Not necessarily what we're experiencing in our thoughts, because our thoughts can go all sorts of places, right? Have you ever been driving along at 50 miles an hour and see something, some graffiti or maybe some garbage on the side of the road, and it takes your mind down this place of judgment, and you know, you're thinking about who would leave that garbage on the side of the road, or oh, look at that beautiful graffiti. That's amazing that somebody took the time and risked their liberty to create this public art, or whatever, wherever your judgments are in this moment. And the next thing you know, you're 5 miles down the road, and you didn't even realize you had been driving all that time. You were in one place and your mind decided to stay there and go while your body was moving at a very high trajectory. And I know that we do this. I do this, and I know that others do this with no, not even going to go into the discussion about the dangers of daydreaming while you're driving, but there is a small part of you that's still holding a conscious awareness of the road. If something were to step into the road, or a car were to pull out, your attention would instantly be brought back, right? But we're living in this dual existence. Sometimes it's multi levels of existence where we have all of these thoughts taking us, but we're not in that moment that whole time. We're back where we were when we saw the garbage, right? We're back into that space, and we're going down that road in our mind. So to be in this moment right now isn't about being where your thoughts are. It's literally being in this time and space. And a really easy way to lead yourself into that is to just feel what the sensation on your skin is in this moment. Feel the air, the coolness of the air on your hands or on your face. Take just a moment to find the smells in the room. So, as you're allowing your body sensations to bring you into the space, Then you can settle down your mind. Now, your mind is following something you're experiencing in this physical moment right now. Now you've got some unity coming together. You can bring stillness into the body. And in the stillness, you can start to discover these small spaces of silence, even if there's the sound of traffic or a radio or whatever it is. The silence is not the absence of sound. The silence is the lack of attachment to what you hear. And so when you start to bring down your attention, the volume comes down. And it just takes a couple of breaths. And now you're here. You can open your eyes and you can find one thing to study on, maybe the tint of the light in the room or your teacup on your desk. And you can bring your attention and your focus to just this one thing. And as you breathe in and breathe out, you might start to find the absence of thought. And you begin to find the absence of any attachments that you had just a moment ago to all of the things that you have to do today. All of the mistakes you made in your morning, or the fight you had last night with your partner, or the uncomfortable situation with your boss in the break room, whatever it is. You find that in this moment right now, your attachment to these things becomes less. And our attachment doesn't just pertain to the things that we find difficult or the things we don't like. It pertains to the good things too. We float on these highs that we get. We get high on the good things, the good mornings, the you know, the light banter at the in line at the coffee stand. Um, the joke that someone told while you were fueling up. Um, Whenever it is, we start to get on these patterns of the good day, the good day. And that's just as much of an attachment, albeit it's pleasurable and even desirable to have those interactions. Sometimes those things have just as much an ability to take us out of our center as the difficult things. I was thinking about this um, in context to whether or not I'm being received or accepted in any moment by another person. And my platitude at that moment, the thing that's in my head, the ideology there would be to say, well, it's none of your business what they think of you. It's only your job to love. You cannot be concerned whether or not they are loving you. You just have to love. That's great. But there's a reality that um, I do get into a space of concern if somebody doesn't like me, if somebody outright rejects me, right? And I get concerned when I'm meeting somebody and I outright reject them. And I was thinking about it and I thought, if I'm just rejecting somebody or if I'm feeling rejected, I've got some work to do. I've got some personal work to do there, right? There's a nice juicy indicator, pretty big flags, neon sign that says you've got work to do here. And that's pretty easy to see, you know. I don't know who it was that said it, but somebody said, when I find I don't like a person, I just need to spend more time with them. And then I think maybe it was Mark Twain that says, when I find I really like a person, I just need to spend more time with them. Because then the next thought that I had is, it's clear that I have work to do when I'm rejecting someone or feeling rejected, but it's not as clear to me until I sit with it in this moment that if I'm really attaching to a person, if I really like this person, I really enjoy this person, and this person tells me how much they really like me and really enjoy me, I think I've got even more work to do. I think in that moment, there's my tendency to glom on to these feelings of acceptance. And it's for good reason. I mean, biologically speaking, it's for our survival that we're accepted. Um, Psychologically, it's also for our survival that we are secure and we have a feeling of being loved and cared for. But this isn't exactly what I'm talking about. I think I'm talking more about when I have my tendencies to chase that high. And then we can get into the realms of what roles we start taking on to win people over or to win people's acceptance or love. And when I say that these are the times that I know I have more work to do, it's because when those people's acceptance of me or love is somehow shifted or changed, all of a sudden I feel emptied. I feel gutted. And my self-worth no longer is there because it was never self-worth. It was only the worth that I gave myself in conjunction to the value that people were showing me. People were valuing something about me, some role that I was playing, or some idea of who they think I am or who I think I am in any moment. And when that goes away, then I lose that sense of value for myself. And so this is not about avoiding liking people. This is not about avoiding feeling good when someone compliments you. Not at all. It's absolutely great to enjoy people, and it's wonderful to like being with people. Uh, but the question that comes in for me is, am I willing to am I willing to allow my need or my desire for acceptance to fade away and still be able to show up with love for myself and for others? If I were not getting that hit, that high of total joyful acceptance. But that's going to be bringing us to the end of my time this morning. Got a little bit of a late start. Uh, and I just appreciate being able to come here and flesh out these ideas. So you can send me a message if you like at journeyhomemeditation@gmail.com and let me know what your thoughts are on your attachment to acceptance and your attachment to rejection, and how you find balance in your life with self-love and self-worth in the face of all of this work. But why don't we just take a moment before we close off here today? Let's allow ourselves to embody the notion of settling into this moment. Finding your seat and settling into your body, breathing in through the nose into the bottom of the belly. And release. Breathing in. And release. Breathing in. And release. You can stay in this place as long as you'd like today. Sometimes it's just a few breaths is all it takes to bring me into my center. So I'll leave you here. Thanks for joining on the journey home this morning. Adios.